within me, contain an ocean of wisdom. I take refuge in the Sangha, wishing that all sentient beings may the Masters in harmony without obstruction.
A Prayer to Broadly Form Good Affinities by Venerable Master Xing Yun, founder of Four Guang Shan. O great, compassionate Buddha, at the moment you attain enlightenment on the Diamond Throne, you proclaim, all phenomena are dependent in origination. Thereafter, the world is brightened. Thereafter, humans have hope. When we realize the importance of causes and conditions, we know to broadly form good affinities. O great, compassionate Buddha, from the moment I took refuge in you, I have accepted your truth without hesitation. Most of all, I have followed your teaching to broadly form good affinities. Some of us volunteer in hospitals to assist patients, volunteer on the street to conduct traffic, volunteer to write letters or run errands for the old and sick, volunteer to clean or cook in monasteries. Sometimes, we broadly form good affinities with others by smiling, praising, rejoicing in their success, and serving them. O great, compassionate Buddha, we have seen monasteries that carry out your teaching of broadly formed good affinities. Some constructed dormitories for people to stay for the night. Some build schools to provide education. Some clean the environment to protect the ecology. Some planted trees to promote environmental protections. We have also seen many monastics who travel around to broadly form good affinities. Some taught and propagated the Dharma. Some rescued victims of disasters. Some took care of children in children's homes. Some look after the elderly in nursing homes. In addition, there are many lay devotees who transfer their merits to other true Dharma services in the temples, publish sutras and wholesome books as gift of wisdom, give food to help struggling families, give school supplies to young students. O great, compassionate Buddha, I pray to you to protect all givers and receivers. May they feel the harmony of all Dharma realms. May they experience the sincerity between self and others. O great, compassionate Buddha, please accept my sincerest prayer. O great, compassionate Buddha, please accept my sincerest prayer.
May kindness, compassion, joy, and equality pervade all worlds. May we cherish and build affinities to benefit all beings. May champion and precept inspire equality and patience. May our humility and gratitude give rise to brave vows.
Auspicious greetings to our friends all around the world. This is Zong from IBPS New York. Thank you for joining us in this online English Dharma service session. We hope that the talks find you well. Today, I would like to share with you a topic entitled How Buddhism Views the Mind. Let me start with a little Chinese idiom story. There was an archer who came to the town. He was famous, and he was exhibiting his talents. He was showing off. He was wonderful, because he was able to pierce a willow leaf with an arrow from a distance of 100 paces, and every shot told. The crowd gave him a round of applause and cheered him on. But there was an old man standing back at the crowd. Instead of cheering him, he kept saying, "Just a matter of practice, just a matter of practice." Definitely, the archer did not like the command. He was expecting praise instead of commands. He turned off and ran over to the old man. "What do you mean? Can you do what I did?" "No," the old man replied. "But let me show you something." The old man used to sell oil. He took a bottle with a very narrow opening, a long tube, and a bowl at the bottom. He was able to tip the oil and pour the oil right through the opening to the bottom, and not a drop of the oil spilled. He looked at the archer and asked, "Can you do that?" Definitely. The archer realized that he couldn't do that because he hadn't practiced anything like that. The old man said, "I can't shoot the arrow like you. You can't pour the oil like me. It's the matter of practice." Now, my question to you is, what do you practice? How many times have you heard someone complain about the weather? Or have you ever noticed yourself getting cranky with the same guy at work over and over. Or perhaps you know someone who transformed their life positively and grow beyond old habits. So, what do you practice? Whatever you practice, you will get good at. If a person practices cheat and deceit, they are going to get good at cheat and deceit. If a person practices complaining, they will get very good at complaining. They will be able to complain about everything without having a second thought. It would be a float. Some people have gotten used to complaining about their boss's attitude, the work schedule, their partner always being late, about not having enough time, or about their partner always complaining. So the question again is, what do you practice in your life? You might not be able to answer my questions right away. In fact, 40% of our actions or our daily practices are not conscious decisions, but habits. So habits are a big part of our life, and a lot of time we don't even realize. The Buddhist concept of storehouse consciousness arose more than 2,000 years ago, explain why people return so often to the same emotional states and viewpoint. Mind Only School defined habitual tendencies as the process of planting seeds in the store consciousness. Store consciousness, sometimes we call it as alaya consciousness. It is like a huge storehouse, full of past memory of love, hatred, goodwill, etc., which we may no longer recall in this life, but it continuously influences our actions and behaviors in the present life. Mind Only School says that whatever we see, we hear, we taste, we smell, we touch or imagine, all will be stored in alaya consciousness. It can be associated to planting a seed in soil. These seeds can be active or remain sleeping, while certain condition arises, bringing the seeds to grow and to fruition. When the unwholesome seeds from the past mature, we become afflicted and are tempted to commit unwholesome deeds, which in turn plant new unwholesome seeds for the future. When the wholesome seeds from the past mature, our hearts are pure and noble, our minds are clear and intelligent, and we again perform wholesome deeds that become new wholesome seeds in alaya consciousness. The cycle of this unconscious level of experience is where the habits are formed and held. The more seeds we plant of the same kind, the stronger the impulse to act in that way becomes. In the teaching of the Consciousness Only School, it is said, seeds give rise to actions, then actions turn into new seeds. The psychological motive of all human behaviors are explained through this model. Due to the influence of ignorance we carry with us from the past, we are prone to making judgments that result in negative feelings, reinforced by greed and anger. Our minds become confused and form incorrect views about things in the world. However, just as plants require sunshine and rain to blossom to bear fruits, similar conditions are required for the development of human behavior. Although the feeling of love, hatred, and positive or negative intentions lie deep in the subconscious of all humans, when these feelings are provoked,
by the people or things that surround us, we must rely on our true mind and wisdom to avoid committing negative deeds and conduct ourselves virtually instead. Suppose you type something on your computer, and this information is stored on a hard drive. That hard drive is like stored consciousness. Although the information doesn't appear on the screen, it is still there. When you click, it will manifest. The seeds in stored consciousness are like the data you store on your computer. If you want to, you can click and help it appear on the screen of mind consciousness. Mind consciousness is like a screen, and stored consciousness is like the hard drive. Because it can store a lot in it, stored consciousness has the capacity of storing, maintaining, and preserving information. Just like the information on a hard drive. However, all the seeds are of an organic nature and they can be modified. The seed of hatred, for example, can be weakened and its energy can be transformed into the energy of compassion. The seed of love can be watered and nurtured. The nature of the information that's being kept and processed by the stored consciousness is always flowing and always changing. Love can be transformed into hate, and hate can be transformed back into love. The important thing here is that we should be very careful about what we are seeing, hearing, smelling, touching, tasting, or imagining. Because all these seeds are being planted for future reference. Some people say that there is no harm in letting their children play violent video games. But I would beg to differ. Those violent seeds are being planted in their stored consciousness. According to 2 studies appearing in the April issue of the American Psychological Association's Journal of Personality and Social Psychology, it states, playing violent video games can increase a person's aggressive thoughts, feelings, and behavior, both in the laboratory settings and in actual life. Furthermore, violent video games may be more harmful than violent televisions and movies because they are interactive, very engrossing, and require the player to identify with the aggressor, say the researcher. The seeds we plant in the past are portrayed as comic seeds, and the way they manifest in the here and now is the comic fruit. So, the more you act in a certain way, the more you practice, the stronger the imprint is, and this will exhibit itself as a habit. By being mindful of what is being experienced by the sixth consciousness, we can let go of harmful seeds and cultivate the helpful ones. In this way, we can transform the stored consciousness instead of blindly being swept along with it. The consciousness-only school further classified the psychological responses of human beings into 51 categories and refers them as the attributes of the mind. These include, first, the 5 basic psychological functions, which are mental and physical contact, attention, feeling, identification, and analysis. Second, 5 intentionally created mental conditions. They are aspiration, comprehension, memory, concentration, and wisdom. Third, 11 wholesome psychological states, which are trust, diligence, humility, remorse, no greed, no hatred, no ignorance, tranquility, attentiveness, equanimity, and harmlessness. Fourth, 6 root afflictions, which are greed, hatred, ignorance, arrogance, doubt, and incorrect views. Fifth, 20 unwholesome psychological states, which are anger, hostility, irritation, conceit, deceit, flattery, arrogance, malice, jealousy, stinginess, remorselessness, no regret, no trust, laziness, insensitivity, apathy, agitation, forgetfulness, incorrect perception, and heedlessness. 6. 4 neutral states of mind, which are remorse, sleepiness, applied thought, and sustained thought. As a conclusion, the process to transform a deluded mind into the true mind. It depends on your everyday practice. This is described in Buddhism as converting consciousness into wisdom. The wisdom emitted from the true mind is the therapy or treatment that humans can use to resolve internal conflicts within their minds, to transcend the suffering in this lifetime, and to break free from the cycle of birth and death in future life. That's all my sharing for today. Thank you for joining us in this cultivation session. Let us join our palms and dedicate the merits to all the sentient beings in the universe. May everyone around the world be safe and happy. See you next week. 阿弥陀佛。